Okay, I know the intensity is high. I want you to take a deep breath. We're last day of October. We've got the second full moon of the month. We've got a blue moon. I'm going to tell you all about that and how that's going to bring your independence and your individuation forward. But you're going to need to make peace in relationships at the same time. We've got some big shifts coming up. Mercury is going to go direct right on the day of the U.S. election, not simplifying anything, and that's a very highly polarized situation. Mars is continuing to heat up the polarity of things and doing its best to keep us away from our center and our oneness, but we need to re-find our truth. Also, we've got a couple of other big shifts coming up, and we start the eclipse season because November ends with a partial lunar eclipse. All of this and more to help you navigate this time, to be centered, to be grounded. Hi, I'm Prema Gurreri, a Vedic astrologer, consciousness coach, and thanks for being here. Welcome to Chart Your Path. Go ahead and click the subscribe button, hit that bell notification. You can't get this information anywhere else, and I'm here to help you with each and every step, understanding the energy, breaking it down so that you can successfully chart your path. So we start this month with a blue moon, and that's the second full moon for the month of October. Okay, so this is all about our independence versus who we are in relationship. So we've got the full moon is in Aries, and it's in a nakshatra that's Bharani, which brings a particular sharp energy to this full moon. It's bound to be an emotional full moon, and it is on the 31st. This is Vedic Astrology, the sidereal zodiac, and we're going to feel that intensity probably on the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st of November, maybe even into the 2nd of November, because let's face it, we've got a lot going on. The polarity is running really high at this time, which is contributing to a lot of anxiety and stress. Full moons are our emotions and really bring that energy up to the surface. So this full moon is happening in Aries in Vedic astrology, and this is that place where we individuate. It's a very Mars energy. It is one of action. It is on its best sense, gives us that ability to be disciplined and have courage and know who we are. And in order to know who we are in relationship, which is where the sun is right now in Libra, focusing on relationships, we need to know who we are so we know who we are within relationships, so we don't lose ourselves in relationship. Because that primary motivation of the sun in Libra, which is the other side of the full moon. So we've got the sun and the moon are directly in opposition to one another. That is when the moon is actually full. When they're together, it's new. So in relationships, there's this desire in that Libra energy for us to compromise and for us to connect and compromise something in order to have something bigger together. But with the Aries energy, it's we make it more about us, and we do need to know who we are. And independence is part of our extremes, and completely compromising or losing ourselves in relationship is another end of an extreme, and we have to feel both ends of those extremes to know where we show up in the middle somewhere. So with this energy, you're going to really want to be very clear about who you are, standing in your own integrity, in your own gifts, really knowing what your gifts are, knowing what your purpose is. So you're standing in your own energy, so you know what you're bringing to the table. See, your feelings are going to really be up around, wow, am I appreciated enough? You may be frustrated in relationships. You may be feeling like you give more, you bring more to the party, and you're not getting enough. And that's one of the problems that we face is when we're looking at what are we getting from relationship as opposed to what are we giving in relationship. Because whatever it is that you don't feel like you're getting, chances are you may not be giving that, and you may be giving that. In that case, you're not being met, and you need to make a different choice for yourself. This energy does have an intensity to it, and it will give you that ability to make a clear choice. Maybe there's a situation, a relationship that isn't really working for you, and this will give you the energy to actually make a choice or create a boundary to do something different. You know that you're in integrity if you're doing that from a place of clarity, like, oh, yeah, it's time for me to go in this direction here. It's not about making somebody wrong. It's not about blaming somebody. You're just taking personal responsibility, and it's doing it from an open heart. That's how the true honorable warrior, the strategist, the engineer, that's Mars's archetypes, move forward. But if you're blaming, if you're making it somebody else's fault, if you're angry, you know that you're coming from the shadow, from the negative side, from less than your highest potential. And you really then want to take a closer look at what are your beliefs around this. And this is a great time to also get very clear and cut away any of those beliefs that are really keeping you from being in your full power and your full integrity, really knowing who you are and being able to bring that to a relationship or attract relationships to you that actually meet you and that are, you can have an equal energy exchange. So this gives you an opportunity to make a clean break if you need to, a clean break from a shift in a relationship, a clean break from a limiting belief. It also gives you the opportunity to create a clean, clear boundary as far as relationship goes, and to get really clear about what you're bringing to the table, and are you really coming to a relationship in the way of giving? And you can only give of yourself when you know who you are and you know what you have to give, and that's why your gifts and your purpose are so very important. So the energy will be intense with this blue moon, but there's some goodness in it for you. There's a gift in it for you. So lean in around relationships, and also lean in about where might you need to pull back so that you can actually have more of that autonomy and really be closer to who you are if you happen to be losing yourself in relationships. Now, Mercury is going to turn direct on the 3rd. That is election day. And typically, we don't want to do anything important on the day before, the day of, or the day after Mercury actually goes retrograde or goes direct. It's great that it's going to be going direct, and we'll have that ability to discern things, and we'll feel some more forward momentum. But just because of the election happening that day in the U.S., not a really great time. We already know this is a complicated situation, and we have Mars heating up Mercury by aspect, which whenever Mars brings its heat, it puts its pressure on, and it doesn't allow Mercury, our ability, our intellect, our ability to discern things, which has already been retrograde. And then with that pressure of Mars, hasn't been the best energy for clarity and really being able to discern the truth. That's the biggest one. I think that's been one of the hardest things during these times that we're living in, is being able to really discern the truth. And that's not something you're going to find on the outside. That's something you've got to get in touch with on the inside. You need to know what feels right for you and what feels off. And I know there's some days where it's like you feel like a ping pong ball. Something feels off, something feels on. And that's why you've got to come home, know your purpose, know your gifts, really be solid within yourself, and be willing to pull away enough so that you can discern the truth. This Mercury going direct is going to contribute to the confusion, the misunderstandings, and the communication breakdowns. Do your best to take a deep breath, to stay grounded, to really pull away from, again, the sort of mania that's going on, and if you're hooked into that, and allow yourself to come back home into yourself. That's through, being in nature, deep breathing, gratitude, just getting into a gratitude practice, really simple things, but pulling away from that mental hooking into constant information. That polarity is pulling, it's two ends of the stick. And let's say oneness, where we're all one is in the middle of the stick. Well, the polarity is pulling us one direction or the other. We really do need to be able to live with each other and have different opinions. And there's also a great energy supporting that right now, is where the sun happens to be in Libra. But this Mercury retrograde shifting at this particular time is going to complicate things a bit. So what I want to invite you to do is, because it is relational, because it is in Libra in Vedic astrology, yes, this is the sidereal zodiac I'm talking about, and then it's not a great time when that Mercury is turning around to engage in any challenging conversations. You want to stay in a very heart-connected conversation place. It's not the time to have that big conversation you've been wanting to have. No, let that happen, after November 4th, actually really after November 4th or 5th. Wait till the 5th. They'll be a little bit better then. Now, also be very conscious on what you are contributing to the cosmic soup at this particular time. Are you contributing Your positivity, are you contributing just truth? Are you contributing just holding a grounded space, even being neutral? Or are you contributing negativity? We really need to watch ourselves. We're all in this together. So be very conscious of that. One of the ways, again, to get your head on straight, is to get into your heart, drop your mind into your heart and be able to really connect in. If you're really dealing with a lot of fear, the link to my navigating and releasing fear class is in the description below. You'll find a link there. It's a free training, and go ahead and grab that, help you to navigate the fear. Mars is retrograde in Pisces. Now, our honorable warrior, our strategist, our engineer energy of Mars likes to be productive, likes to move forward. I talked about this a lot in the October update, so you can go ahead and watch that October update, and that will really go into this a little bit deeper. But what I want you to know about that is that, it's going to go direct on November 13th. Okay, so come mid-month, Mars is going to start moving forward, but it's still in Pisces. It's still in the ashram. It's still in a place of really spiritual discipline. That's the best place. Otherwise, it's checking out, and that's not the best place to use this energy. This is where, the spiritual warrior takes its direction from spirit, from the divine. That's an inside job. That's for all of us. We all have an honorable warrior. So be really clear on where your honorable warrior, and sometimes that shows up in the strategist or the engineer. Those are Mars's archetypes in the Sacred Wealth Code Archetype system. If you want to grab the free quiz, the link is down below for the free quiz as well. Then you can also find out what one of your Sacred Wealth Code archetypes is. And if you want to have a full Sacred Wealth Code archetype reading, the link is below too, and you can really understand who you are, your gifts, and your shadows. Because the shadow side of the honorable warrior is going to fight. It's going to fight and create problems. The noble side of the honorable warrior is going to take a stand. And I really want to encourage you to use that noble side of Mars and get into your spiritual discipline. Where can you be more disciplined with yourself to create integrity and the real sense of courage? That's through spiritual practice, whatever that may be, whether it's martial arts, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, whether it's reading scripture, whatever it is for you. Really be honed in with your honorable warrior. So you're taking the direction from the inside and not just being in that reactive place. Really important at this time. Really, really important. So that is actually going to shift out on the 13th and moving forward, although we're still going to have that honorable warrior energy in the ashram, as I like to call it, until December 24th. Then it's going to come into Aries. Then it's going to get productive. Then it's going to be ready to take that mission forward, but you have to be clear about what your mission is. And if you're not clear about what your mission is, when you move forward, we tend to sort of be like a bull in a china shop as opposed to being, laser and on the path. So you've got this time to be very clear, get clear, understand really what you're taking a stand for and what you need more courage for. Now, of course, this is hitting you in some area of your life, depending on what your chart, how your chart reads. And if you want a reading, go grab the link below, grab a soul success map reading, a full Vedic astrology reading, or a Sacred Wealth Code reading. But on a collective level, very important to know that you're taking a stand for. What do you need courage for in your life? If you tap into your heart, you know what you need more courage for. Where do you need to develop more integrity and really tighten that integrity meter? That's what you need to do during this time. So take a break, relax in, and find out what that is for you before you go moving forward. Big shift we have is Jupiter is going to move into Capricorn. Now, Jupiter did this back in March through June of 2020, just for a short period of time. But now Jupiter is going to move into Capricorn, and it is actually going to move really fast into Capricorn, and it's going to be there until April 6th, and then it's actually going to move into Aquarius until September 11th, and then back into Capricorn until November of 2021. Don't worry about all that. I'll be telling you that as we go along, what I want you to know now. See, in Vedic astrology, Jupiter is not its strongest. That's the teacher, the sage, the visionary. Not its strongest in this placement in Capricorn. But every energy we have is good for something, and we just need to know what it's good for. So Jupiter is expansive. It's light. It's our hope. It's our beliefs. It's our great visionary. It's a planet. It's the brightest planet of light aside from the sun. But Capricorn is constellation that is really at the winter solstice. It's a time of repose. It's a time of pulling in. It's an inner time. So Jupiter's not really comfortable here in this placement. But because Saturn is there too, it sort of it uplifts Jupiter in a way there. So this is a time, well, actually we haven't had the two of them in Capricorn, and Saturn owns Capricorn, since it's been since the 1960s. When they come together like this, we tend to have a paradigm shift. And hello, we're in a paradigm shift, right? And we tend to have like if you think about the 1960s, there was, by the time we got to the 70s, there was a big shift. So we're in that big shift. But this is where we take the vision and the inspiration and the hope and the beliefs from what we've been discerning with Jupiter as it's been in Sagittarius for this last year, and we bring it down into the practicality of and the groundedness of Capricorn, and we have to get practical about bringing that inspiration and bringing that vision down to earth. Hopefully you have a vision. Hopefully that you have taken the time to really understand what the purpose and vision is, and if not, get to it. It is time to really discern what is your purpose, what is your vision, what is it that you want to bring down to earth, because this is going to be a very focused time of putting the practicality together to build a new structure for those beliefs, for that vision. So whenever we're building a foundation, for a house, like someone doesn't come by and go, oh, really awesome foundation. You know, when the walls are up or when the finished work is done, it's like, oh, great, beautiful house. But there's so much work that goes into setting up the system, drawing the plans, creating the foundation, actually doing the work of creating that. That's what this energy is like. New systems in our in all of our collective governmental systems. Everything's been breaking down, but this is an energy to come in and help to restructure things, to make things more sustainable. Things have gotten out of control as far as sustainability, as far as the planet, financially, on many levels. And the energy here is to bring things back into a place of balance. It's not going to happen overnight, but to help to bring sustainability and clarity to where to move forward. So we need to think about that for ourselves personally. Where do you want to move forward? Take the time to do that. And collectively, and what's our personal part? See, if you're on purpose and you're using your gifts, then you are part of the collective whole moving forward, but you're doing your part. We want to know what that is, because that gives us deeper meaning, and then we're all connected to that deeper meaning and moving it forward. I understand things feel really pulled apart right now, but each and every one is getting very clear about what our part is, and really working with that part to move it forward is going to be it's the way. It's the way. So watch out for disappointment. Watch out for loss of hope. Okay, don't lose your hope. Don't look outside and be disappointed. Have a firm, purposeful plan for yourself to move forward. This is important. It's not going to be an outward, it's not like the summertime, that outward expansion. It's going to be through April more of this inner time, more like the winter time. But that's where we get clear and things fall away and we start to build things that you can't quite see yet, like the foundation. And then on top of that, we can create something that's sustainable for our lives personally and collectively. So where do you need to make your life more sustainable? What area of life? And then collectively, we all need to step in with our part about living more sustainable. I'll be talking more about this. Is a big transit, and I'll be talking more about this, and I'll make a separate video on it as well. So we also have the energy of Venus and Mercury. They're in a Parivatna Yoga. They're in a specific interchange that is really about relationships. And we've had a lot of challenge around relationships. I was talking about that as far as the full moon goes and touching on this energy a bit. But, it's as we get into Mercury moving direct, we're going to be able to feel, which again is really as of the 3rd of November, we're going to be able to feel like we can start to come in and discuss some things that we've been shying away from. Wherever you've been kind of like, oh, I don't really want to go there. I don't really want to talk to them about that. Well, we're going to be able to start to have the heart to come in and talk about some of the things that maybe we've been overlooking with our partners, with our relationships, and with our bigger social communities. But you're going to need to be clear about what your part is, and really own what your what your part is in things. And remember, what is it are you willing to give and bring, not so much what you're looking to get. But this will be a time of a better time for sort of working things out. Then we have the sun is been in Libra, where it's not its strongest. It's not so confident. That's that leadership quality. That's the leader, the celebrity, the king. And so if you've been feeling less than confident or not really understanding where your path is at this moment or not feeling fired up around that, that's completely understandable. When we get into the second half of the month, as of the 16th, the sun's going to come into Scorpio. It's going to feel much stronger. It's in a time of repose right now, which is okay. Sometimes the leader's got to step back in order to let the other people shine. I talk about this more in my October update. And but it's going to also be moving in with Ketu, with the south node of the moon, and that's where we'll have an eclipse on November 30th. So the key about Scorpio always is, what are we devoted to? What are we devoted to? We don't want to get stuck in our deep emotions. We want to penetrate those deep emotions to get through to what we're actually devoted to. And the south node of the moon, K2 being there, gives us the ability to examine our vulnerabilities, gives us our ability to what comes up and the beliefs that come up in Scorpio to be able to heal those. And we're going to have that more so as we get to the end of the month with the partial lunar eclipse that we'll have. It'll be 14 degrees of Taurus. I'm going to create a whole other video on that, so no worries. And I'll also create another video around the new moon. That'll happen on the 15th, on the middle of the month, and I'll talk more about the eclipse coming up at that period of time. And then we'll have another eclipse, a solar eclipse in Scorpio, and that's coming up on December 14th, I believe, and that's a full solar eclipse. So that's the real change in direction. We had one last December solar eclipse that was a change in direction, and this one will be too. Again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I will clue you in on that as we come up to that a little bit more here. So again, big shifts this month. Stay grounded. Own what's yours in relationship. Realize what you're bringing to the party. Give what it is you want. Really examine your beliefs and, what's not working for you as far as relationship goes. Maybe you do need to make another choice, but be at peace with yourself and don't do it out of blame and don't do it out of anger. Really be conscious on what you're contributing to the collective right now. The collective needs support. It doesn't need any more draining, and it's been getting a lot of draining energy. So big month, big time, dig in, pull away, get back to truth, get back to center. Get into your spiritual practice. Dig your feet into the ground of your spiritual teachings so that you are really grounded in spirit, not in this 3D reality, so that you're grounded in truth. And what you believe to be true is being put under pressure. And if it's not true, it's getting crushed to dust. And let that happen so you can get to a deeper truth. And if it is true, it's going to be like a fine gem. Reach out to who you can support during this time. Again, we all need to be adding and giving, not so much taking away. One of the simplest things you can do is a gratitude practice. However intense, however unknown things are, and it is really hard to see where the trajectory is going, you can find something to be grateful for every day. You can find something to appreciate about the planet, about the people that you're around, about yourself, which is one of the hardest practices I give to my clients is, what can you appreciate about yourself today? That energy of gratitude and appreciation, just knowing it is not enough. You actually have to bring it down to earth. My people I work with tend to be very conscious beings, and I help them to close the gap between what it is that they know and who they're actually being and how they're actually showing up. So there's lots that you can do to move your energy forward, which moves the collective forward during this time, but pull away enough so that you know who you are. And this full moon starting the month is really helping you to do that and really coming back into your independence and your individuation so that then you can step into the collective in your rightful place. So you're a contributor. All right. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and click that subscribe. You can't get this information anywhere else. You need this information in order to chart your path to move forward and to be that amazing conscious creator that you are and contributor. So much love to you.